Okay. So, I think at the core of I think at the core of all of my, I guess, woes, my issues, if that makes sense. This isn't none of this is gonna make sense. Probably, I don't know. Is loneliness, if that makes sense. And even saying that out loud, saying it in my head, I feel a certain kind of way, but saying it out loud, I feel worse. And what I mean by that is I feel like I think I don't deserve to feel that way. You know what I mean? But I understand completely why I feel that way. And this isn't meant to be a thing where I'm saying all of this and then I want people to feel bad or give or give comforting words or anything. I I don't know. And it's so it's funny because I I have made I don't know how many videos pretty much just around the same thing. I don't really know what I want, if that makes sense. I know what I want, but I don't know what I want. Or I know what I want, I just don't know how I'm going to reliably get there. You know what I mean? What I mean by that is I am 26. I feel like I failed with life. I've had multiple jobs throughout my life and I've never been good at saving. And it's the typical you have money and then you think you have more than you have and you spend and stop caring. And then for me, I go through emotional roller coasters often. I allow other people's opinions and words to affect my mood, which in turn infects no, what the fuck? Affects the way I treat others sometimes. And it just causes more suffering in the long term. But due to having shitty moods for various reasons and stupidity, I eat and I don't save. I would eat to comfort myself and I don't save. And then my excuse was constantly that because of how I was raised, because I was forced to work out constantly, I can burn off the fat easy. You know, I don't have to worry about getting fat because I can just work it off. And that worked for a long time. That's kind of just how I operated for a long time. I would eat whatever the fuck I wanted and then work out every day, to balance it out. And then my confidence came from feeling good due to feeling fit and attractive from my own perspective, and then in a way not caring if others saw me the same way, but also caring a lot, if that makes sense. But then I also just felt stupid the entire time. There are moments now when I work on my self-talk. There are a lot of moments when I don't care. I've learned recently that I can't talk to my family, but that's really because I personally, I feel like I'm constantly being judged. But it also makes sense, at least I think it makes sense, because I basically failed at life, you know? I had things and I lost things, and I had things and I lost things. You have a car, but you fail to save, and then it breaks down and you can't fix it, and then you get a job with your dad and you fail to save during that, and then because you just spend and you do things, but then you don't do enough. And then every time you fail, it feels harder and harder to keep going, because you think you're just gonna do the same thing again and again and again and again. And you tell yourself you're not, but you end up doing it constantly. And then all the negative words and thoughts come back. Every and you feel stupid even saying this, but every adult saying all the negative things around you or about you. But then you think you're 26, you are an adult. And you know why you think of those words still. You know exactly why. But you feel weird and dumb thinking of it still, because you're the adult now. One, no one cares because you're the adult. You have to fix your own life. Understandable. But it's difficult when you have all these words in your head. You try to comfort yourself, but you just have all of these negative opinions floating around in your head. You're at the point now where you pour a lot of your energy, you pour most of your energy into making a game that, in your own opinion, is fucking shit. And then you think on recently when you heard that you calling your own work shit is just gonna make other people think it's shit, which is gonna cause them to not want to financially support it. And then you feel dumb thinking about that, because on one hand you're just begging people for money, and on the other hand you feel a bit of shame. You know the end goal of what you're making, but in the moment you're doing what everyone, at least everyone you've heard and read, hates. You're making a game for money, and no one likes that. People don't like when people make games for money. But that's what we're all doing with everything. We're doing everything for money. There's nothing really wrong with it. Money is just a tool so that we can pay someone to garden, so that we can pay someone to take care of cows, so we can pay someone to milk the cows, so we can pay someone to pick the fruits, pay someone to make the foods that we eat, to filter the water that we drink, to build the houses we use, the cars we use. It's just a tool for convenience for our society. The issue has always been humans and how they use tools. It doesn't matter what the tool is. It literally doesn't matter. It's always been the issue of humans using the tools. And it's not even that what they're doing is right or wrong. It doesn't matter. The universe doesn't care about right and wrong. Things just are. The universe just is. It doesn't care. It doesn't care. You hear all these opinions constantly. And it's your fault. You're listening to all of them. You're looking at all of them. You don't have to spend hours looking at other people and listening to their opinions and taking them all as if they're 100% true or they're all genuine. Or if they even care enough. You have all these stupid ideas. And you think, look at all these people. Essentially all these thousands and thousands of people. And you're lowballing it, really. It's more so like tens of thousands, but to lowball even thousands of people with more money than they could ever do with. And yet all everyone does is upgrade their living. And then you feel dumb saying that because that's what you do. That's what everyone does. And we're all lucky in a way to live in the United States. A place that seems all fucked right now, but it's nowhere near as fucked as other places. And yes, I understand that that the other places are fucked because we fucked them. You know? But that's life. That's not to excuse any of the things that happened. It's just to say that things happen. Ultimately, you were just one human against a giant the size of a planet. You throwing pebbles at all of the giant's many walls that are like skyscrapers compared to you isn't gonna do shit. The giant is still gonna keep picking up all the little ants, squishing their heads, squishing their bodies, and milking everything they can from it. It doesn't matter what you do, unless you can somehow grow more arms than the giant, or at least grow enough to where every time the giant picks you up, they just pick up a few fingers. And you can spread your multi-armed dwarf body to others. Where now it doesn't know who to pick up. It doesn't know what fingers to grab. You feel so dumb when you say things like that. You understand what you mean, but other people don't. You can see it in your head, but you can't show them. You want things to progress. You want to help things progress. You want to help a lot of different things. There's a plane outside, or a helicopter. At the core of all of this is loneliness, and I hate it. But it's understandable. You fucked up a lot of your relationships. You're an insecure adult human that still feels like they're 12 at times. In a way, you feel as though this family is slightly abusive. And I say slightly because there's no physical abuse, but it feels like verbal sometimes. But then you feel dumb saying it out loud. But you can't really explain what it is because that's how they are. You can't change how people are, especially if it's only for you. You can't expect a bunch of people to change strictly because you feel some kind of way about how they speak, how they act, the tones in which they use. It's easier to leave, but you need money to leave. You need money to fix or buy a car so you can leave. That's all you think about. It makes it difficult to talk to them because it's all you think about. You don't know why they do things, but you also do know why. Humans fill the gaps of silence with anything just to make themselves feel more comfortable. You can understand that, but if they don't, or they don't care enough to, they'll do it. And you have to smile and laugh, even though what they said wasn't funny. And you know they're just doing it to try and comfort you. Being the quiet person doesn't help when you feel like you're trapped in a situation. Because the things you want to say eventually come out in one way or another, either directly or indirectly. It's easy to want to write it all out, but then you still feel lonely because no one looks at the writings. You can't get other opinions, but you don't want other opinions because you're afraid of negative opinions, because you're afraid of how they'll affect you. You don't want to kill yourself because you enjoy life. You enjoy the suffering of life, the interesting parts. Everything's interesting. But you want to because you want to end the suffering that you're currently feeling. And it's not as if suffering will ever go away, but the type of suffering you're currently feeling will go away. You will have food consistently. It's not to say that you don't have food consistently, but it's not your food. You didn't buy it. It's other people buying food and they allow you to eat it, but then you feel dumb because you feel as though they all constantly have opinions about you, negative opinions. But why did it matter? Why did it matter what other people think? It does when you're around them constantly. When you have to be around them because you fucked up your life. That's all you can think about how you fucked up your life. All you can do is distract yourself from how stupid you feel from how you fucked up your life. You don't like making these because it forces you to think about all these little things and you tend to lean negative. But you enjoy making these things because you feel, or at least you can pretend that someone's listening. You feel dumb for feeling this way. But at times you feel like a child that misses his mom. You think about that one that one time in your life when you were a kid and you were living in an apartment by yourself with your mom. And that was one night where you got scared because you couldn't find your mom. But in reality, you just panicked. You went home to the apartment. She wasn't there. Left. Wandered around in the snow. Got scared. Panicked. Oh, I can't find my mom. I can't find my mom. But in reality, she was just around the corner at the neighbor's apartment. As in, it's quite literally around the corner. You walk out the front door of the apartment, turn to your right, walk around that corner that's like 5 feet in front of you. You turn right, and that first door is the neighbor's door. It's right there. You finally find her. And I understand why she reacted this way. But it sucks still. What's wrong with you? Why are you freaking out? I was here the whole time. Calm down. And you can't understand what that means. Not unless you're in my head. I wish you could understand what that means. I really wish you could exist within my head to understand what all of this means. I can never allow myself to become attached to people again like I was at the beginning of this whole thing, resulting in crying and whining and begging and stupid words and emotions stemming from loneliness. And a desire for someone to accept me so that I then feel like I'm okay accepting myself. But that's stupid. And you know how you can be confident as life goes on, you think, do you really want to be immortal? Do you want to live forever? As much as you say you do, the suffering's never gonna end. But that means the suffering never ends. That can be beautiful. But it can be painful too. When you feel so stupid. And you have to treat yourself better. But you feel so stupid. You don't deserve to feel sorry for yourself. But I don't want to kill myself. So I have to get this out somehow. I have to talk about it. I'm just tired. I'm just tired, man. I need to do more. I need people to want to understand. But I don't. I don't need that. Not really. I want it because I want attention, because I'm selfish, because I'm a fucking child. I don't have time for any of this. You have no more words, but I know you have a lot up there. But you're tired. Sometimes you wish you didn't have the face you did. Wish you could just rip it off. At least then there's an excuse for people not to treat you like a person. You know? Or at least then you have an excuse to wear a mask. At least then if people stare, you know why they're staring. You don't have to constantly deal with if you look stupid or not. You know you look stupid. But even then, it's just your own opinion. I hate how these always devolve into this. I don't even remember what this was originally supposed to be. I need to go to therapy. But I don't have time. I don't have money. A part of me is afraid to have a job again. A part of me is afraid to put everything I'm doing on pause to have a job again. And as many people have said today, that's the smart option. Get a job so you can sustain your life. But I'm lucky. I have family that cares enough to house me after I unexpectedly show up at their door because I failed at life. And I thought, oh, I can just make a game real quick and make some money, and then I can fix everything. I can fix everything because money fixes everything. It does, though. It buys you food, buys you water, shelter. It buys other people food, water, shelter. If you use the money correctly to build something, then you can have a reliable way for others to buy themselves food, water, and shelter. That was your plan. That is your plan. But you feel stupid. This is taking too long. Sometimes I hate myself. I don't know what to do.